Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're here for the second module, the session number 1. I'm sorry, module number 3 already at this point. Connection to the father figure. I already posted, and if you haven't yet watched the video that talks about the significance of the father figure, the importance, the symbolism, the necessity to connect, the reason why we need to establish attachment and strong connections with the father figure. In this video, let's talk about the Dilts pyramid, okay? The Dilts pyramid is the way for us to figure out what are our purposes in life. The most strong area we're going to focus on will be the value system. This is what we will be talking about. And this and next session, we will be actually even more talking about it in the module number 5. But for now, I wanted to bring your attention to understanding what the father figure, we first talked about the significance of the father figure in the first video we watched, why do we need to connect to the father figure, the important emotional and psychological and mental significance and representation in our life, connection to the masculine energy. But at this point, I would like to bring forth the idea that our father side, our connection to our father, also bring forth the values that are installed within us. And the first step would be to connect to our values, to have values is what gives us support. Values is what gives us the necessary kind of security and support system that provide us. Values is actually everything. Everything we do in life is for our values. So it's important to be aware of one's values. The first level of values, I talk about it in detail during the Goals and Values course. So if you want to learn more about it, I definitely come and join that course. But today we're going to talk in general. There are 2 levels of value system. Okay, the first level you received when you were a child. Okay, the child automatically, because the child doesn't fully understand what the reality is about. So as a result, the child tends to connect to the value system that the parent portrays, okay? So the first set of values that a person acquires are kind of forceful acquirement, because a child doesn't have a will or understanding of their own, so they just automatically acquire the value system that their parents give them. The second step will be setting your own value system, and that we will be working on in details in module number 5 as we talk about success, being successful in life. So for now, let's talk about the significance of Dilts pyramid. Robert Dilts, let's talk about him. I want to tell you a bit about him before we start understanding how to bring the value system into our world, okay? Give me a second. Okay, Dilts pyramid. Dilts pyramid is a model that helps you understand yourself and your environment better. It will provide an indication of the level at which changes would need to be made, where you need more resources in order for any project, whether it's a professional project or a personal development that you're trying to achieve. In order to understand what's happening within you, it's good to go through Dilts pyramid. It's also known as the logical levels. Originally, it was stated as the logical levels, and Dilts changed it because it's not just logical. But they're known as also a level of changes, and more likely they're now known as Dilts pyramid. They serve to clarify where, for example, a problem or a goal or one's mission is indicated. The logical levels can be used in problem solving, like I said, and resource work. When we go through each level, through guidance and questions, we raise awareness. Then we try to figure out on each level what is going on. Is there clarity in this level? Basically, going level by level, we go through valuable concept, figure out logical levels, and try to understand how and what we can do. Okay. Dilts pyramid is known for the following. It's known as a pyramid of motivation. It's known as a model for structuring change processes. The higher levels generally have a greater effect on the lower levels. Okay, again, we're not going to have a detailed view. I will tell you a bit about the pyramid of Dilts pyramid, but we're not going to have an in-depth practice like we usually do at the goals and values course. So we work there in details, deeper, and actual have a strong practice in that. But in general, when you look at the pyramid, the higher levels have a great effect. Lower levels is what we see outside. Higher levels is what's within ourselves. The solution of the problem is rarely found at the level of the problem. Usually you need to go a level up to find the solution to the lower, to the level that you are at. One of the most important coaching models here. It's one of the most popular coaching models known. Who is Robert Dilts? Robert Dilts was born in the USA. He's an author, trainer, consultant, and developer of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. He actually pioneered the introduction of NLP into the discipline of organizational development, organizational psychology, leadership, learning. He worked for many, many companies like the World Bank, Isborfiat, IBM, Europe, many others. He designed the model of logical levels in the mid-1980s. He formulated them according to Bates' logical levels of learning. In NLP, they have gained immense importance since their publication. The book was first published in 1990, called Changing Beliefs with NLP. Okay, he's still alive. We wish him lots of success. The levels of the Dilts pyramid. Okay, it's important to understand these are the levels. We're going to go through each one: environment, action, capabilities, values, identity, and vision. It's important to understand that you can go up and down the pyramid. Okay, if you want to grow, you go up. If you want to deepen each level, then you go down. Okay, it says here: constitute, go up; define, go down. Let's start looking through each of the levels. On the lowest level is the environment and the action or the behavior. Okay, within their environment, people go with their abilities. If you want to know who you are, tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. This is exactly what it is. Look at your environment. Are you happy with your environment, where you are living, your social setting, your even the place, geographical location, the work you're doing, your friends, your neighbors, your community leaders, your community members? That's the level you can actually influence, okay? Because the actions that you take in the next level is what formulates your environment. Above the actions goes the capabilities. Capabilities is what gives us the abilities to do any actions below. Any actions below, anything we do in life will depend upon our ability, our skill. If we don't know how to do something, I don't know how to ice skate, which I don't, I won't be able to do ice skating. I can set myself a motivational goal and say, I want to learn how to ice skate. And then I will have to make actions to reach that goal. But if I don't know how to ice skate, there's no way I'm going to compete in any kind of ice skating challenges. Okay, that's the action. And that will not be my environment. My environment will not consist of people who are competing for ice skating challenges on the Olympics or any kind of competitive tournaments. And that's the idea. Each level is built upon the one above. Okay, environment depends on our actions. Our actions depends on our capabilities, our skills and talents. Our capabilities are dependent upon our values. Now, values is actually, it says values here, it actually has two names: values and beliefs. I actually believe in separating. I believe in a model that has two different levels for values and beliefs. Okay, beliefs goes first and then values, because beliefs are based upon values. Okay, and this is the idea. Let me see if here it is. You see values and beliefs over here, as you can see. Values and beliefs will include, whether conscious or subconscious, your motivation for doing or not doing something. A lot of times I have people coming to me for financial quests, financial goals, and they will talk about the environment they want. They want to go on an expensive cruise or live in $1 million mansion. They may talk about the behavior, buying expensive, one-of-a-kind designer brand items. They may even have some skills and knowledge. They say, oh, I know how to do this. Can that get me to make this amount of money? But what they totally neglect is their values and beliefs. Values and beliefs will identify whether they have that inner motivation to reach that money or not, for various reasons. I'm not going to go into here because it's too much, but this is the idea. This is the criteria where we decide what we believe in. And remember, at the child's level, the beliefs are identified with the parental beliefs. The child will have a hard time making their own beliefs. At this level that we're discussing, between the age of 1 and 2, as children, I start identifying with the masculine energy. They start identifying, they start acquiring the belief system and the value system that's associated with the belief system of their parents. And that's where the support system of the father level comes in. If with the mother level, it's more nurturing, with the father level, this will be the level where the father will identify and say, this is your motivation area, this is your success-seeking area. This is the support and security we feel behind us in the role, in the figure of a father when we are seeking. And this will be over here, values and beliefs. This is what we will be working with more in our practical work, okay? We use model of the word as a criteria to decide what we believe, okay? With what is right, what is true, and what is important to us. In NLP, this is called beliefs, okay? In English language, beliefs may be associated with religious beliefs, but we, in this case, that's why I actually believe in separating beliefs and values as a separate level. And beliefs are based upon the values, okay? When we go up, further up, we have the level that's called identity. Identity is the way we distinguish who we are, what belongs to us, and what doesn't. In the 90s, Robert Dilts actually added another layer above identity. It's called spirituality, which I personally also add in my. In this course of the further development, yeah, sometimes this would be also called vision. Here, you see it says here vision. I like to call it, there's a further system that I like to use, right? But yeah, spirituality, higher power, right? We talked about the idea of how the image of God, the idea of higher power in the previous video. That's another way to look at the 6th and highest level. There are other levels. Some people, every coach kind of takes the Dilts pyramid and kind of builds upon it their own vision. Like Pavel Piskarev, the founder of the NeuroGraphica method, he built the whole pyramid called the Pyramid of Development. There's the whole, I think I may have the open video on it. If I don't, let me know. If you're interested, let me know and I will post it here. We worked with the Pyramid of Development in, I'm trying to remember, in the Neuro Labyrinths course, but we connected the labyrinths with the Pyramid of Development, an amazing, amazing labyrinths as a result. Okay, so that's the interesting part. That's the idea of figuring out what to do and how to do it, okay? Let's again go a bit deeper into each level. The lowest level is the surrounding. Each event takes place in a temporal or spatial context. The level of the environment contains external conditions that affect the person. Again, physical world, practical world. This can be experienced external with the senses. We ask the questions, where, wait, let me see this. We ask the question, the following question work on the environment level. If you want to figure out what your environment level is, this is the question you ask. Where, when, who, with whom, and who else. The next level, the behavior, is always a verb. It's always the action. It's always what is it that you want to do in order to work within that environment. What do you see your actions to be? What are the words? What are your choice of vote? What are the gestures? What are the movement? Okay, The question for behavior is always, what should I do? What to do, what is done. Okay, it's always a verb. The capabilities, as we talked about, the skills and knowledge, or it's activities that are cognitive and emotional processes that a person goes through to make a certain behavior possible. Okay, they're not perceivable from on the outside. You may not see from the outside. It doesn't say on me. Like if you look at my body, you can understand my environment, where I live, and even my behavior, how much I eat or don't eat, more or less. Maybe some people can figure out your health, right? Doctors can look at people and figure out their age, their health level, right? If there's an issue, health issue with a person. Some people do some other kind of diagnosis, but based on the person's body, they can see what the person does or not, and what their environment. It's very hard to understand what the person's skills and knowledge are by looking at them. Skills and knowledge are an inner trait, inner abilities, okay? They're not perceivable from the outside. It's about what you know, what you think, what you feel, awareness of the abilities of doing everything. The question we ask at this level, how? How can I reach my goal? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And now we're going to the higher level. Notice the separation line. The values and the beliefs are beliefs, convictions, values, inner criteria that underlie the actions, whether they're conscious or unconscious. They're the actual motives of the person. They're the guiding ideas that the believes to be true and uses for the capabilities. People only use existing abilities if their corresponding beliefs and criteria allow them to do. Beliefs are interpretations from previous experiences. They're individual theories of why something like this and not different. Why would this work for me and not somebody else? Why am I different from somebody else? Why does this happen to me and not somebody else? Those are values and beliefs. Beliefs are based upon values. Identity. The next level is the level of identity, is a self-image. The ideas a person constructs about himself or his or her behavior, abilities, beliefs, mostly unconscious. Identity is what we form within our head about, we connect it later on. It's people see there are different identities where we have an inner identity, we have an outer identity, we have a personal identity, we have a social identity, okay? We have a religious identity, a community identity. We act a certain way with our own family. We act a certain way with strangers, with our friends, with co-workers, right? With parents. We are, in the goals and values course, we actually adapt the multidimensional person model. It's another model from the Institute for Psychology of Creativity, the institute that's created by Pavel Piskaryov, the creator of the NeuroGraphic method. And it talks about the fact that within our daily life, we adapt 8 different types of masks, 8 different identities. We kind of have them on, and we change them as necessary for the achievement of whatever goal, which are, of course, based on whatever value we have. Okay, so that's an interesting part. Our identities is never just one. There are different. And you can ask yourself, who am I? When you cook for your children, you are a person or a chef. When you nurture your children, you can be a mother or a father, a parent. When you work, you're a professional, right? When I go to any course or a study, I'm a student. But when I'm here with you, I'm a teacher, correct? So I can wear different identities, depends on my behavior, depends on my environment, depends on my skills and knowledge, and also depends on my values and beliefs. One of my values, and that was a very important work we did in the Goals and Values course, where we figured out what our inner values. One of my values was to teach. That's my soul mission. I found out my soul mission. One of the soul missions was to teach. So I completely identify whenever I do some teaching, it's a part of my value. It connects to me. And the last part, the spirituality or the vision level, is the level, it's also known as a mission. A lot of models, you will see Dilts pyramid, it will say mission. This is about our professional, family, social, philosophical, religious affiliation, our vision, our mission, right? In the Goals and Values course, again, I'm going to refer to it because this is the model, we use it a lot. We worked with a soul mission there. This spiritual level guides and shapes our life and gives our existence a foundation. It's about the big questions in life. Why do we live? Why are we here? What is the meaning of life? Now, the Dilts pyramid is used predominantly. They use it a lot in organizational psychology, in industrial psychology, in within various organizations and corporations, right? And of course, Dilts pyramid is used on a coaching level. Let's look at the example. I'll give you an example how to use the Dilts pyramid, okay? Okay, so you see if it's here. Give me a second. Going back, we'll come back to this one, okay? Going back here, okay? In the environment level, we can ask ourselves, what is the environment that would trigger stress within me, that would trigger anxiety? The answer could be noisy office, an argument with a colleague, meeting in the morning. To reduce stress, it helps, for example, not to carry out certain tasks in a noisy surrounding or move them to another time of the day when the office is still quiet. At this stage, one looks for a lack of resources within the individual environment to help avoid stress. Okay, so at the environment, we're looking, what can we do on a physical level, around surrounding level to avoid stress? Then we go to the behavior level. In the behavior, we ask, what about my behavior would contribute to my stress level? The answer could be, I'm constantly changing my daily routine. I'm taking appointments at the last minute. I have a hard time focusing on the task at hand. When we answer the question, we'll look for a useful behavior that can serve us as a resource. For example, with the stress here, we can come up with an idea of behavior of taking time to relax during the lunch break or doing sports after work. That's also a great way to release tension, to release anxiety, okay? Then the next level, you go to the skills and knowledge or capabilities level. You ask yourself, how do you carry out the activities? Which internal processes and programs are running? And here the answer could be, no, I have a hard time concentrating. I have a hard time focusing on the task at hand. I can't be on time because there's always something happening, something holding me back. I have different areas within my life pulling me in different directions. In order to activate resources in this level, it's helpful for the client to learn to imagine how he can develop the missing skill. Over here, it's important to know what are the skills and knowledge necessary for your goal to come true, to realistically be successful, to realize successfully within your life, okay? And this is where you identify, I am missing of a skill, for example, of a focusing or concentrating. You need to actually identify the skill that's missing in order to figure out how to obtain that skill. This is where we start figuring out something called strategies, right? Strategies is a way for us to figure out how do we bring that skill within our life. And that's where we start going a level up to values and beliefs. Which beliefs could cause stress? Talking about the stress example, right? And the answer could be, I have to constantly guess what others want me to do. I have to constantly answer the expectations of others. I have to do everything perfectly. This is a belief, actually. This is your perception. You don't have to do everything perfectly. This is the way you think others are expecting you to do, okay? All beliefs that make you dependent on the grace of other people or on certain events that leave no alternative for actions contribute to the development of the stress. Okay, this is what researchers say. They say that all beliefs reinforce the feeling of being influenced. And this is further on. Beliefs you can easily identify. Values are harder to identify. You have to actually look and do a deep work. We do a very deep work in the goals and values course to figure out what are our values. Identity. This is going a level up. Values, beliefs, and values will bring you to your identity. Who do you see yourself? Who am I? Am I a servant to others? Is that what makes me stressful? Am I a slave to my schedule? It's important at this point to start figuring out, who am I? That's this identity of mine, the one that, let's say, in this case, if it's professional stress or if it's stress related to family, you figure out what is your, do you have a healthy self-confidence? Because a healthy self-confidence is a good source of energy to prevent stress. This is where you start looking for resources that will bring you to acquire a proper, an identity that will relieve you from stress. In this case, let's say you will think about self-confidence. Self-confident people know who they are. They know what they can do for themselves. They look at the stress and they figure out, how do I deal with this challenge? How do I not make it a stress level? The word stress already triggers a certain anxiety. But if you look at the word as a challenge, it can also be a trigger for an anxiety for some people. But if you start thinking as a challenge, as something that allows me to grow, it may not necessarily lead to stress. But this is the level where you ask, who am I really? Do I really need this? How can I deal with this? Keeping in mind that I want to be the person who I am. I want to work with my soul mission, and I want to do this job. And of course, the topper level, the spirituality or the vision, is about something big, something higher, the higher level, the higher belief, the higher power. Is there something or someone or a group of people on the professional, personal, idealistic, philosophical level that you know you belong to? What is, and this is the bigger coaching, the major question that you have, what is my role in this world? The answer to this question conceals very considerable resources. Okay, finding an answer at this level will be the hardest. It's not achievable just within doing it 1 or 2 times even. It takes quite some time and resource and skill. But once you find it, you can find the answers for yourself. You can live with them. You will feel the stress actually relieving. You will see things making sense to you. You will see clearance in the way you look at your goal and understand it. Okay. Let's start understanding. The last step we're going to do is coaching questions at each different level. This is the way to practice the Dilts pyramid for yourself. In the environment level, you ask yourself, where are you here? With whom are you here? What are you listening to? What do you see? What do you taste? What do you smell? In the behavioral level, we ask the questions, what are you doing here? What do you say? What do you do? What are your performance, actions, and reactions? In the capabilities level, we ask, what are my skills? What are my knowledge? How do I relate to others here? What are my special skills? How do you do what you do? Then comes the beliefs and values system. What is important to you here? What do you do what you do? What do you believe in here? What motivates you? What do you believe about yourself, others, your job, etc.? What is right for you and what is wrong? The best example I like to use here is crossing the street when it's red. Here in the USA, when I cross the street, if there are no cars, if the light is red and there are no cars, I will just cross the street. There are no cars. I find it to be safe enough for me to walk, even though the rule is you're not supposed to cross. But I look at it as a practically. If there are no cars, I can walk. I was in Europe this summer and I tried to do the same thing. I would walk whenever it would be red light and there are no cars, I would just cross the street. But I noticed a few times, I started noticing people look funny. I'm like, why are they looking funny? Why is nobody crossing the street? To me, it doesn't make sense. If there are no cars, why can't you cross the street? Right? To me, that's the purpose of the red light. Then I started understanding that it's a thing in Europe. If it's a red light, even if there are no cars, you just don't cross. It's just the rule. You just follow the rule, and that's about it. That's the values and beliefs. Okay, that's the values that those people were raised with. I was raised in different values. That you go, and if there are cars, you follow the street, the lights signals, right? But if there are no cars, you can follow your own set of practical knowledge. If there are no cars, you can cross the street. After all, the light was there to regulate the cars, not the pedestrian walking. And again, that's my vision. That's the way that's my belief and value system, okay? And that's what it is. The belief and value system, you always ask, what is important to you? What do you believe? What motivates you? What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about others? What do you believe about yourself? Professional, your job, your career, and so on and so forth. Then comes identity. Who am I? What kind of a self-image do you have here? How do you understand yourself, who you are? How do others see you? What role are you playing right now? Stop and think. We do this exercise where we stop and write down, what are the 8 roles I play every day? A person can juggle up to 8 roles. Beyond that, it's too much. That's where anxiety and stress comes in. When a person is triggered with the idea that they need to play 8 roles. Of course, it happens completely subconscious when nobody actually sits down and says, okay, how many roles are you playing today? But if you start thinking about it consciously, this is it. 8 roles is okay. Beyond 8 roles, this is what triggers stress and anxiety. And that will bring us to our identity, different parts of who we are, different roles. We wear different masks, we wear different hats. There are different allegories for this level. And of course, the 6th level here, you see it says purpose. We also know it as a vision, as spirituality, as soul mission, as mission. Where do you belong? Is there something or someone or a group you know you belong to on a professional, personal, idealistic, or spiritual level? Which task, which mission do you have? This is the bigger picture in your life. Okay. There are some people, I followed some coaches that actually follow that there is 2 more. Over here, they have predeceived parts of who you are. This is what you're born in, the certain culture you're born in, religion, your background, your family, your parents, your siblings. You don't get to choose them. Okay. On a spiritual level, we choose our parents, but that's on the soul level. But in a physical life, you don't get to choose. You need to figure out how to get along with your family for best resources, with your siblings, with your parents, grandparents, with your children. And it kind of creates this, I want to say circle of life, which, Lion King, Disney Lion King. But it formulates what your family system is. And even though it's kind of over here, beliefs, values, and identity, your family system, but really it's over here. You don't get to choose where you're born, but you do get to make meaning of it. You do get to make sense of it, figure out how you can make sense of it and bring yourself to peace with it, with whatever traumas we had in childhood. And of course, would be level number 7, and there's a different level I practice at. Level number 8 would be God. But again, I'm a religious person. I believe in God, the concept of God. I think everybody, more or less, it may not call it God. Everybody believe in a higher authority, higher power. And it's a bit higher than the purpose. Purpose over here would be mission, but the God or higher authority level would be level 8, if we go by these numbers, okay? And that's the idea of traveling from one level to another to collect resources, bring out all the insights, bring out all the resources, figure out what resources, which level do you lack resources, figure it out, work with that level. NeuroGraphic is one of the best way to work with gathering resources. This is what we're going to do in the practical work. And also, the second important part, after you figure out each level, the important part is internalization and conclusion. Going through each level, figuring out, after you gain, let's say, work with resources, you figure out, do they click together? Do they work together to reach your goal? Okay. Again, this is just a general idea about the Dilts. We're not working very deeply with the Dilts pyramid. The only reason I brought it down here is because we will be working with the value system, okay? We'll be working with the value system in this course, in this module number 3, connecting to the father figure. And that's why I figured, let me tell you a bit more about the Dilts pyramid. It's a truly amazing, resourceful module. Okay, now if you're watching this in the open video, welcome to join the Nurture Your Inner Child course, the reparenting course. It's a course of 11 unique and amazing sessions. If you would like to register for it, I have this special introductory price going on, $158 for the whole course. NeuroGraphicaUSA.com, LanaShalom.com. Welcome to watch. I want to thank you for joining me on this very transformational and knowledgeable video. I hope you enjoyed it. Welcome to join me in the future. And again, welcome to join the reparenting course, a truly resourceful course.